shoot. The fact that it's been a while since I did a review is kind of crazy, honestly. Especially since I watched The Force Awakens last week. What's going on, guys? It is your boy Joel TFD here. Welcome back yet again with a brand new review for you guys today. Today we're doing Star Wars The Force Awakens, and honestly, I like this movie. This movie was actually not that bad, honestly. Definitely doesn't hit, I will say, as much as like the other Star Wars content though. And now that I really was watching like the old content and everything, and I really started to like all these characters, you know, this movie, right, it does good, don't get me wrong, it's really great, but I see why people feel so disconnected with these characters, you know. But before we head straight into my review of The Force Awakens, just want to say really quickly, definitely hit the like button, also subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before my birthday. It will really mean a lot if you guys help me reach that goal. If you guys don't know when my birthday is, it is actually February 4th, so it will really mean a lot if you guys help me reach that goal by then. But if not, we're really close to hitting 950. That would also really mean a lot at the end of the day also. Anywho, let's get straight into the Star Wars The Force Awakens review. I did watch this movie a long time ago when it came out, obviously, and it was honestly my first Star Wars introduction, you know. I never really watched anything else when it came to the Star Wars stuff. Honestly, I kind of wanted to watch it because I thought it was actually pretty cool, you know. I saw the trailer and everything.
What is up, guys? It's me, Joel TFD here, and today, guys, we're with
Chewie. We're home.
You seem surprised.
And yeah, and Phyllis, actually, he is a recurring character sometimes on my channel. He is a huge Star Wars fan, and I decided to invite him to watch that movie with me, and I actually really liked that movie, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should get into the other Star Wars content, you know. And I never really jumped into it, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, because then I did watch A New Hope, and then, wow, I'm having a huge brain fart right now. Yes, Return of the Jedi. Okay, yep. And then in the movie theaters, I watched A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, and that's because my friend, he basically had like the theatrical release DVDs and was showing us that, so I thought it was actually pretty cool just seeing those movies around that time, you know, and everything. And that was like the only Star Wars content that I watched, and now that I know like more lore about it, especially watching the Clone Wars and the Rebels and everything, I love to adore those characters a lot. But when it comes to The Force Awakens, you know, I actually did not mind the movie, you know. It was not that bad. I really liked the story and everything. It did feel like somewhat of like a classic Star Wars story in some type of way, but I see why it feels so disconnected in some type of way, honestly. And like, I really am curious to see if there's shows or like some more content, you know, throughout like these next couple of like stuff that I'm watching when it comes to Star Wars wise, that will really get me to like these characters even more. And I think that's not actually entirely like there, because if I'm not mistaken, I feel like after Rogue One is when things start to really take a little bit of a downhill when it comes to Star Wars content, and that's what I hear most from Star Wars fans, aka my friend that is a Star Wars fan. And there's maybe like a couple of shows here and there, honestly, that are good, you know, like Ahsoka and The Mandalorian, which I'm very curious about those shows, honestly. I mean, I have watched Mandalorian the first 2 seasons, honestly, but I am definitely excited to rewatch both of the seasons again so that I can maybe understand a little bit more of like, especially the Mandalore lore and everything. The Force Awakens, honestly, was not that bad of a movie. It really wasn't, but I know I keep repeating myself, but like I generally know why it feels so like disconnected with like the rest of the things, you know, when it comes to like Star Wars, and just like, you know, it just, you don't really get to feel that emotional weight in some type of way, you know. So I'm like very curious. I know Resistance is like the only show really that kind of leads up to The Force Awakens, but I haven't watched that show yet, and I think that's why I'm starting to learn that if you're ever gonna watch like a franchise or anything, you know, like especially with like Marvel or just Star Wars, you know, instead of doing release order, you should definitely go by like how the story goes, because then it just makes a lot more sense and also builds up a little bit more character, you know. I feel like it's more easier to, if you really want to dive into lore wise and everything and just want to watch everything in general, you know, I definitely do think it's best if you watch it chronologically wise than timeline wise. That's just my personal opinion, because like now that I'm going into Star Wars, you know, I am still watching a release order, you know, but I actually did like that I managed to watch the Clone Wars before watching Revenge of the Sith, you know, and like now that I'm watching like everything else, you know, like obviously I'm like puzzling it together, but it generally feels better if you watch it chronologically so that you guys can get like a deeper emotional level into characters and everything. That's why I feel like if there's any newcomers out there, you know, that are trying to get into Star Wars and everything, I generally recommend that you watch it chronologically. I can't even freaking pronounce the word. Chronologically. There we go. I did it. Chronologically, you should watch it instead of like release-wise. I really like this movie though. Like I really like Rey as a character, you know. I really like Finn as a character. I loved all of the characters, don't get me wrong. I think now that I know, because like obviously since I watched The Force Awakens, I watched The Last Jedi and Rise of the Skywalker, you know, I'm kind of starting to see why like these movies start to fall off in some type of way, you know, even though I haven't like really rewatched The Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker, but since I kind of still remember because they're fairly ish kind of new, you know, I see the fall off a lot more clear in some type of way, you know, and how like kind of disrespectful it is to like the original Star Wars content and trilogy. So like I'm very like you know, about everything, but we're definitely gonna go through it, you know. I'm gonna just like how I do with Marvel, you know, I'm gonna stick through thick and thin, you know, and yeah, hope for the best for the future. I know recently they just kicked out, I forgot her name honestly, but she was like the director, I guess, or something. I don't know, she was like the lead of something, like she replaced George Lucas, you know, and now they got the person that worked on Rebels, the Clone Wars, and I forgot what other one too, honestly. So that's actually pretty cool. That's really great news for all the Star Wars fans out there. Yeah, very excited to see what's gonna come up from that. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about The Force Awakens, to be honest. I hope you guys did enjoy this review. I know I didn't really talk about The Force Awakens too much. I was kind of really keeping you guys updated with everything Star Wars related that I have been doing, but again, I just really did like this movie a lot. But again, it's just a disconnection there in some type of way, you know. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. If you guys did enjoy the review, definitely hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know what you guys think of The Force Awakens in the comment section down below. Would love to know your guys' input. Anywho, peace out, you guys. To enjoy your day, make every day nice today. Everyone stay positive and be positive. You guys already know to have a positive mindset. Peace.